cook it.
Inubos mo na.
Uy. Is it yummy? What do you call that?
Cranberry. What is this color?